This is practice video number 1 for the Scherzo, and this is in Progressive Repertoire for Double Bass, Volume 2 by George Vance. It's on page 40. Before we start in the piece, we're going to take a look at G major, 2-octave scale, and arpeggio. And this is out of the Essential Elements, Book 3. If you don't have the book, I'm going to go through the fingering for you, each note at a time. Okay? So we're going to start G on the E string. So that's second finger. Open A. First finger for B. Second finger for C. Open D. First finger E. Fourth finger F sharp. Open G. First finger A. Fourth finger B. Third position C natural. 1. Fourth finger in third position is D. And then we're going up to fifth position E, first finger. Fourth finger F sharp. And a harmonic G. Let's go back down. Harmonic G, third finger. Fifth position, fourth finger is F sharp. First finger E. Fourth finger in third position D. First finger C in third position. First position, fourth finger B. First finger A. Open G. 4 for F sharp. 1 for E. Open D. 2 for C. 1 for B. Open A. And 2 for G. So we're just going to go through this scale up and down twice. I'll do a half notes and then we'll do quarter notes. During the half notes, I'll say each letter name, and during the quarter notes, you're on your own. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. G again. Going down, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G. F sharp, E, D, C natural, B, A, G. Alright, now quarter notes once without any letter names. So it'll be 1, 2, ready, go. Now you'll notice that I didn't use vibrato in these scales. I would recommend not doing vibrato during these scales when we're warming up, because what I want you to really focus on is getting a nice big tone with a straight bow and really getting that perfect intonation on the scale. So leave the vibrato for a different day, for different exercise. So in G major, you saw that we had F sharp. That's our only accidental that we have in the key. The one other thing we're going to do before we get going on the piece is to work on the G major arpeggio. So on this arpeggio, we are just playing the outline of the scale. So our scale has numbers, right? We have G is 1, A is 2, B is 3, C is 4, D is 5, E is 6, F is 7, F sharp, and G makes 8. So we have 8 scale numbers, or scale degrees is what they're called. So we're going to play the arpeggio as the outline. So we have 1, which is G, and then we skip over the A and go to 3, which makes B. We skip over the C and go to open D, that's 5. And then we go to G, which is 8. And that's the octave, right, from our low one. That's why it's called an octave. It's the 8th note. And then we start it over again. So we'd play G, skip a note, B, skip the C, D, and then skip all the way up to G. Now, doing that up the G string on that second octave, as you can hear, I'm pretty out of tune. It's kind of hard to find that D going from 4/4. So what we're going to do instead is play open G and go ahead and have our first finger on this D. And when we play the B, we'll just be in 4th position. It'll be straight across on the D string, 4th finger. So we play open G, 4 for B, 1 for D, and then the harmonic G. Okay, so let's go through that whole arpeggio from the bottom. G, B, open D, open G, up in 4th position, 4th finger for B, 1 for D, harmonic G. Let's go back down. G, 1 on D, B, open G, open D, B, G. So I'm going to play that with half notes and then quarter notes with saying, just like we did in the scale, saying the letters on the half notes and then leaving it up to you on the quarter notes. So here's our half notes with the letter names. 1, 2, ready, play. G, B, D, G, B, D, G. Going down, G, D, B, G, D, B, G. Now, quarter notes without me saying the letter names for you. 1, 2, ready, play. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the scherzo. If you don't have the measure numbers written in, I'd recommend you go ahead and write those in. If not, you can look at the end of each line. They've got the numbers. So the second line starts with measure 6. The third line starts with measure 10, etc. I'll be referring to those measures as we go on. So we're going to start with measure 5. That's where we come in after the piano entrance. In this measure, we have 2 of every note, and you're going to notice that's a pattern that continues through this whole page. You play every note twice. This first measure is exactly what we just did with the arpeggio, but we have 2 of each of them. So we're going to come up here. The way that I find 4th position is always just to find that D, and you can check it with your open D. So I've got my first finger on that D, and then the 4th finger is going to be on B. So we have G, B, D, E. And we're going to play kind of right in the middle of the bow for right now, and not too fast yet. Let's try that measure. Here's an example. So it's G, B, D, E. Let's try it together a couple times. 1 and 2, or 1 E and a ready, set, go. 1 and 2 and ready, set, go. 1 and 2 and ready, set, go. One more time and ready, set, go. Now, before we go on, let's say I wanted to speed up that. Here's on our metronome, we were about 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 E. So we were around 70. Let me just set that for us really quick. So 1 E and a, around 70 for the 8th note. 1 E and a, 2 E and a. So that's our speed. If we're just doing it straight with the metronome, it's about where we're. Pretty good. Now, if we wanted to work on speeding it up, one of my favorite exercises is to do rhythm variations. So we're going to do long, short on each of them. So we'll change it to being just like if you swing the eighth notes. And we're going to try that 3 times with our metronome going. Bum, ba bum, ba bum. Ready? Here we go. Again. Ready, set, here we go. Now let's try the opposite. Let's do short, long. 2 more times. Short, long. Ready, set, here we go. Again. Ready, set, here we go. Now we're going to try double time. So they're even, but they're double time. Again, ready, go. Last time, ready, go. So throughout the piece, I would try that 1 measure at a time. Try it slow. Try both rhythm variations, and then try it double time just for that measure. Eventually, we'll start putting it together. So let's try doing that for the next few measures to see how it goes. Measure 6, we have D in fourth position. We were already there. We're going up to our harmonic. Second finger goes down right there for F sharp. And then back to fourth position for E. And the next measure lands on a D. So it's going to be D, G, F sharp, E, D. And if we do our metronome, 1 and 2 and. Ready? Try it with me. Here we go. D, G, F sharp, E, D. Notice my elbow is not squished behind the bass. It's out to the side, so my wrist is nice and smooth going up. Let's try it together. Ready, set, here we go. One more time. Normal, ready, here we go. Long, short, ready, set, here we go. Again, ready and long, short. Okay, short, long. Ready, set, here we go. Again, ready, set, here we go. Double time. Ready, set, double time. Ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. Last time, go. Good. Now, I'm not going to do this in this video, but what you could do is as we're moving through and you practice each of the measures, you can try putting the 2 measures together. So if I did that with measure 5 and 6, that's the slow. Then I'll do long, short. And then I'll do short, long. Then double time. So that's all stuff you can go back and practice once we get through each measure by measure. And I would recommend just drilling each measure as many times as you need until you feel comfortable with it, and then putting them together 2 measures at a time, and then putting them together 4 measures at a time, etc. All right, so here's measure 7 and measure 8. In measure 7, we landed in 4th position on that D first finger again. We have 4 in a row this time. So 4 Ds, and then we're across to 4 Bs. And the fingering that's in the book actually has you shifting to 2nd position and into 1st position. Instead, we're going to take this pattern, the D to the B, and we're going to copy it in third position. So first finger goes on C, straight across, fourth finger A, and that's on the D string in third position. Fourth finger on the D string, third position. So showing you those two measures together, we have fourth position, D and B, 1. Third position, C and A, 1 and 4. So let's try that with our metronome here. Bum, 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 bum. 1 and 2, those two measures go. D, B, C, A. 2 more times. Ready, set, go. Last time. Ready, set, go. Okay, now let's try long, short, long, short. Ready, set, here we go. It's a little tricky getting that shift. Let's try it again. Long, short, ready, go. One more time. Last time, long, short. Ready, set, here we go. Let's try short, long. 1 and here we go. Ready again, here we go. Double time. Ready, set, double time. One more time, double time. Ready, here we go. Good. Now, when we get to measure 9 and 10, it is a repeat of what we had in measure 5 and 6, except that we're going to start going up into thumb position. So just looking at measure 9, very slow. This time, instead of going to third finger on that G harmonic, we're going to land on thumb so that we can go into thumb position. So for right now, I'm going to skip over measure 9 and I'm going to start right on this thumb and we're going to take a look at our thumb position just for this line. So I'm going to go through measure 12 for this video, and on the next practice video, we'll go into measure 13, etc. for the other part in thumb position. So thumb position here, we start with thumb on G, and this is also going to start going into treble clef. So if you haven't practiced your treble clef notes, you can get on musictheory.net. There are some other resources where you can start working on reading in treble clef. So the G harmonic here is thumb. We have a reach for first finger, that's A. And then we're going to do another reach again for B, second finger. Okay, now the distance between each of those is about a couple fingers. So if you want to just kind of check your reference in there, if you don't have tapes on it, just a couple of fingers distance between that. So we're doing G, A, B, and then it comes back down A, G. So 2 of each of those, G, A, B, A, G. Let's try just that. And this is starting from the third note in measure 10, if you're lost. So we're doing G, A, B, A, G, 2 of each. Let's try that with our rhythm variation. Here's just normal, 3 times. 1 and 2 from G, here we go now. Make sure you're really reaching up for that B. Try it again. Ready, set, here we go. Now I'm squeaking a little bit. My bow is a little too high. I'm going to get it a little bit lower. The other thing I'd like you to check for, make sure that that elbow's not down here. Make sure you're up nice and tall so this is nice and straight. 1, 2, ready, go. Let's let's try long, short. 1, a 2, a ready, go now. Again, long, short, ready, here we go. Okay, let's try short, long. 1E, 2E, ready, go-E. Again, ready, set, here we go. Alright, let's try double time. 1E and a 2E and a ready, set, here we go. Ready, here we go. Ready, set, go. Now notice again where my bow is. I'm not way down here at the frog. It's going to be really hard to play it faster if you're stuck down here. So come out towards the middle for that. Okay, now after we play G, A, B, A, G, we have 3 more notes in measure 11 and 12. We play F, E, D. Now, you could come down the G string to play those notes. That's what we've done most of the time in the past. But instead, we're going to go across so that we can stay in thumb position. So again, that spacing is about 2 fingers between the thumb and 1, and about 2 fingers between 1 and 2. All we're going to do is take our entire hand and move it over to the D string. Second finger is F. Sorry. Second finger is F. First finger is E. Thumb is D. And you can just lay it on. It's a harmonic. You don't have to press down. Notice that we have a whole bunch of Ds. D is the only note that we're playing in measure 12. So we play a total of 8 of those. So it's going to be F, E, D. I like to think of those Ds in groups of 4. D, D, to kind of keep the measure in order. So let's try the F, E, D with our metronome and our rhythm variation. 1 and 2 and slow. Here we go. Now F, E, D. Again, D. Let's try it one more time. Ready, set, here we go. Alright, let's try long, short, ready, set, here we go. One more time, ready, go. Try to get those Ds super even. See if you can make them all sound exactly the same. All right, let's try short, long. Ready, set, here we go. Again, short, long. Ready, set, here we go. All right, now before I put this together, sorry, we got to still do our double time. So here, I'll turn that back on, our double time. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. 1 E and a, here we go. Ready, set, here we go. Ready, set, here we go. Good. So before we play that whole section of the piece, I'm going to practice just measure 10 through 12. And I'm going to not worry about this D shifting up. I'm going to start just right on the G. So it'll be... So starting right on that G, 1 and 2, and so we count it off better than that. We're going to come in on the 1 E and so it'll be 1 E and 2 E and so 1 E and 2 E and ready, go. Let's try that again. 1 E and 2 E and ready, go. Nope, that's not right. 1 E and 2 E and ready, go. Okay, so just make sure you really feel good on that spacing and that you're coming straight across when you're going to the D string. So the last thing for this is that I'm going to play this all the way from 5 to 12 slow and then double time, just for you to reference. If you're not there yet, then I'd recommend just going back and really drilling measure by measure. You can kind of repeat some of the stuff that we've done in the video, that kind of thing. But I did want to just go ahead and play all of this for you so you could practice. One final note also is that the beginning to measure 12 has a repeat sign. So we would play this whole section twice when we actually perform it. The next time we'll get into some of the dynamic markings, and then we'll come into measure 13, 14, 15, 16, that section. Okay, so here you go from the beginning up to 12. Here's at 70, and I'll leave that metronome on to kind of help us. So, ba, 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 1, and a 2, E, and go. So now let's do double time. Double time with the repeat. So it'll be 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1, 2, 1 E and a 2 E and a. Repeat. All right, so hopefully that's helpful, and I will see you next time.